Howdy y'all, welcome to Realistically a Man. Let's get on with it. Today, we are going to be talking about vocal changes for FTM individuals, as well as just basic things about voice changes with transitioning. We're going to be talking pre-testosterone, so things you can do before that, and we're going to be talking about testosterone voice changes. We'll also be talking about a little bit of anatomy, which I know a lot of us trans people don't like to talk about, but it's something you need to know about if you're going to be transitioning and you want your voice to get lower. So first we're going to start with anatomy. So, how does your vocal cords work? Where are your vocal cords? Why is this important to us? Also, how do we measure voices? How do we know how our pitch is going to sound? So you have the, disclaimer. I am not a medical professional in any way, and therefore, anything I say should be cross-referenced with an actual doctor or someone with an actual medical degree, and any type of voice training, if you want it done professionally and well, should be done through someone who is licensed to do so. Though you can do things at home that I will be telling you how to do, I do have to say that I am not a medical professional, and therefore you should find a medical professional to do so for you. Legal reasons. And because I care about you all and want you to be safe. So, you have a larynx, right? And I'll have a little picture here of where your larynx is and how your throat works. And in your larynx you have true and false vocal cords. Now, true and false vocal cords are different for men and women who are cisgendered specifically, because as we get on hormones, our vocal cords start to change. So for cis men's, theirs is longer and thicker than a cis woman's. So a cis man's is 20 to 25 millimeters, while a cis woman's is 15 to 20 millimeters. So the less thick and the shorter your true vocal cords, the more high-pitched your voice is going to be. While the longer and thicker your vocal cords, the more low-pitch you're going to be. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. When you start testosterone, your larynx and your vocal cords begin to lose the characteristics of a cis female. I don't know the actual facts on this one, but I'm guessing they'll never be to the 25 millimeter or how much they grow. I don't know how much they grow, but I know that they do change and they do lose the characteristics of a cisgender female's vocal cords and larynx, which are together, by the way. So I'm also looking at my notes on my computer, so I tell you the right stuff. Let's talk about how do we measure pitch and voice, which are kind of the same thing, but if you were a music major, you would tell me they're not. So voices are measured in hertz, which is a little HZ. So hertz is units of measurement that is used to measure electromagnetic fields, voice head sound, and I think one other thing. But today we're going to be specifically talking about voice. So hertz is so if you're looking up hertz and voice, they can go up really high. But today we're just going to be talking about the normal ranges for men, women, and androgynous individuals. So if you have above 180 hertz, you are said to have a more feminine voice. So someone with a very high feminine voice is going to have a hertz of around 255. That's so high, that's really high. And then if you have below a 165, that is considered a masculine voice. So the highest voice for masculine would be 165. That would be a rather high voice. Androgynous voices are going to be between that low feminine, which is 180, and that high masculine, which is 165. The higher the number, the higher the pitch. The lower the number, the lower the pitch. They kind of go together. So higher, higher, lower, lower. That should make sense, right? So let's talk about how we can naturally lower our voices and how we can use this before we're on testosterone. So the diaphragm. You have a diaphragm in your chest. Well, not really in your chest, but it's there. It's shaped like a parachute. Your little parachute contracts and then except it does the opposite. So this can help lower your voice even if you're not on testosterone. So if you've ever been in singing classes like choir, you've learned to breathe using your diaphragm. You're not really supposed to breathe with your shoulders, so you're able to hold your shoulders still. Of course, there'll be a little movement because out and in, but it should really all be coming in there rather than. Do you hear the difference already just with the way I breathe? So if I'm breathing like with my throat, right? And with my diaphragm. At already, just the sound of my breathing is deeper. So you can do this with your voice too. I'm guilty of speaking with my throat still, which is actually why a lot of trans masculine people who are on testosterone or trying to deepen their voice end up getting those kind of like nasally pitched voices. So here, let me show you an example, right? So here I am talking out of my throat, and here I am talking out of my diaphragm. You can feel it. You can actually feel it. You can feel the difference. And it does take practice, and it can be so frustrating to do. I get really frustrated when I forget to do it. I almost always talk like right here, and I can almost always feel it, and I know I'm going to be talking more in here, less in this area, but I'm starting somewhere, and that's where I get my real low pitches. Not that low yet, obviously. So you can do this by doing breathing exercises. You can do this by mostly breathing exercises to start, especially if you've never done it before. It can be really, as I said before, it's frustrating. It really is, and the difference isn't going to be like, wow, suddenly I sound almost completely like a man. Amazing, my voice is so low, but it will help with not only training your voice if you're starting testosterone, but at least getting it out to a lower point where your dysphoria feels a lot less. Also, your posture. I know, you're like, posture? Why does it matter if I'm hunched over or if I'm standing straight? Well, the better your posture, the more masculine your stance. If you keep your chin up, that can actually help your airways a lot and can help with propelling and deepening your voice. So let me show you an example. I have really bad posture right now. I'm trying to make it look like I have good posture, but I don't. So usually I sit like this, right? And my airway, my throat's down, and it doesn't sound as good because it's a lot less loud and it sounds a lot more timid and passive. But I can breathe a lot better and have a lot of a deeper voice when I'm doing this. So now let's talk about some things about when you're on testosterone and your voice is starting to change. So your pitch will start to change. Testosterone naturally makes your pitch go lower, and this is a permanent effect. So if you are going to start testosterone, be aware of that. I mean, if you're going to start, you definitely most likely want your voice to be lower, but also just be aware that it is a permanent effect. It shouldn't scare you from it, but it is something I feel the need to disclose to you in case you haven't been doing as much research, or in case that didn't come up in your research, or it wasn't something you thought about. It will help naturally lower it, as I said before, because it will change the way that your cisgendered larynx and vocal cords are made. It'll kind of change their behavior a little. Also, a way for your voice to get deeper, safer, and better is to actually start on lower doses of testosterone. I know that sounds like, why would I want to start low? Why don't I just want to go hit it big? Well, unfortunately, like when you start any medication, you want to start on a lower dose to acclimate your body to said dose so that it's not like stressing your body out too much. Because if you start on too high of a dose, oh my gosh, my air conditioner, I'm hoping that doesn't pick up. If you start on low testosterone, you have the chance to acclimate, right? But if you go big and you go really high, you're going to have the possibility of permanently damaging your vocal cords and some of your other bodily changes that are going to start happening. And we don't want that. So it's always better to start on a lower dose than a higher dose. I started low. I'm still going up. I'm on 200 milligrams right now. I think 1 cc. I'm really bad at the measurements though, so I cannot actually tell you what I'm on. I can tell you I'm in the 200 milligram of testosterone. So the lower the dose of the T to start with will help with lowering your voice a little more naturally, and it's kind of like going through natural puberty then. Also, vocal exercises. So some things you can try to do. This is before before and after testosterone, you can try humming lower. So, say you have a higher voice, like up here, you can start humming lower, like lower than you would normally go. You want it to be a gradual change, though. If at any point your throat feels strained or tight, make sure you stop, because that's not healthy and it's not safe. We don't want you to permanently injure or at all injure your voice. So if you feel too much of a strain or like stop. Also, testosterone can, for the first months or so that you're on it, can make your throat feel sore and like different, and that's because you're physically changing, as well as like mentally. I mean, not like in like a way that is going to seem like, oh, I'm mentally changing, oh, I'm transforming, but rather it's like your dysphoria is kind of going, hopefully going away a little bit. Voice changes change for everyone. Most people see voice changes within 6 to 12 months. It could take you longer, it could take you shorter. So everyone's journey is different, especially depending on the dosage in which you start on. I also wanted to tell you a little bit about my voice change so far. This is the lowest that it has ever been. I tested it today using an app called Voice Pitch Analyzer, which is not a sponsor, but I just wanted to share with you some of the stuff I use. So my voice has gone from this to this, which is really different. A lot different, actually. It's a big change. If I find a clip, I'll insert it or in the audio so you can hear me and what I used to sound like in a video.
Looks it's obviously flat right now, and this is the hand part that goes separate. And that's finished.
I also use something called EVA M, EVA capital M. They also have EVA F, which is for MTF individuals, but EVA M is specifically for FTM individuals or those who want to lower their voices. So androgynous people are free to use this as well. Also, the EVA F can be used for androgynous people who have naturally lower voices and want to make their voice higher. It's by a professional voice person, voice therapist, speech therapist. It's made by a professional speech therapist. You do have to pay some money for it. It's $3.99 per session. The sessions are rather short, but it is worth the money because, the first sessions teach you how to properly breathe, how to lower your diaphragm naturally, and takes you through these steps that I was kind of talking about. So, I hope you enjoyed our talk on testosterone voice changes for FTM individuals, and I hope that you found this educational, and I hope it helped you. Have a good day. Stay strong.